crypto, it's more than just Doge memes. You probably have plenty of questions about cryptocurrencies right now. What are they? Why are they so important? What are the risks and rewards? Will the prices go up or down? And most importantly, will governments try to ban them? Well, don't worry. You only need to understand 5 key concepts to get the full picture of what cryptocurrencies are about. In this video, we'll cover all 5, so you won't have to watch a bunch of different videos to get up to speed. Let's dive right in. Alright, let's kick things off by addressing the elephant in the room, or should I say, the rupee in your pocket. Because there's a crucial difference between money and currency that most people completely miss. See that 2,000 rupee note you've got? You probably think of it as money, right? Well, here's the catch. If the government decided today that the 2,000 rupee note is no longer valid, poof! The value of that note would drop to 0 faster than a pigeon fleeing a wedding. Money, like gold, has inherent value. It's like the Beyoncé of assets, universally loved and accepted. Currency, however, is controlled by the government, and much like a politician's promises, it can be manipulated. They can print as much as they want, which leads to inflation, making your hard-earned money about as valuable as a screen door on a submarine. Now, with that crucial distinction out of the way, let's move on to the second concept. So, we've established that currency can be a fickle beast. But did you know it can also be either centralized or decentralized? Now, before you glaze over thinking this is just some boring economics lecture, stick with me. Centralized means the government controls it. Think of it like your overbearing aunt who insists on controlling every aspect of a family gathering. For example, the money you use today is controlled by governments, and they can print more whenever they want, causing inflation. But decentralized currencies like Bitcoin are not controlled by any government. They are finite in supply, which gives them intrinsic value. Since no government regulates Bitcoin, people often compare it to gold because it can't be manipulated or printed endlessly. This is one reason cryptocurrencies are gaining popularity. And yes, there are smaller cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin, where market manipulation is still possible by big players. Okay, time for a pop quiz. What do you call money that isn't backed by a tangible asset like gold or silver? No, it's not monopoly money, although the comparison is scarily accurate. The answer is fiat currency. You've probably heard the term thrown around, but let's be honest, most people hear fiat and think of a tiny car, not the global financial system. Fiat currency refers to money that's not backed by any physical asset like gold or silver. Most of the money we use today, like the dollar, the euro, or the rupee, is fiat money. A few years ago, countries could only print as much money as they had in gold reserves. But today, money is just paper or plastic, with value assigned to it by the government. Because fiat money isn't backed by any assets, it can be manipulated by governments, which leads to inflation. Remember Zimbabwe? Yeah, they learned the hard way what happens when you print more money than there are stars in the sky. My suggestion, whenever you get money, consider converting it into assets like gold or silver to preserve its value and protect against inflation. Alright, let's talk about the digital elephant in the room, shall we? Digital versus physical currency. A few years ago, people looked at digital payment systems like Paytm with the same suspicion they reserve for politicians promising tax cuts. They worried about the safety of their money, imagining hackers running off with their life savings to fund their lavish lifestyles of instant ramen and energy drinks. But times have changed, haven't they? Now digital payments are about as normal as seeing someone walking down the street glued to their smartphone. We've embraced the convenience, the speed, and the sheer ease of it all. And you know what? It's actually pretty great. Here's an interesting example. A man had been saving money for years for a medical procedure. He was responsible, disciplined, and kept his hard-earned cash tucked away safely, or so he thought. Turns out, his hiding spot wasn't as secure as he believed, and a particularly ambitious rat decided to use his savings for a rather expensive and inedible nest. That's the risk with physical currency. It can be lost, stolen, or in this case, turned into rodent bedding. But with digital money, such risks are minimized. And finally, we arrive at the brain of the operation, the technology that makes this whole cryptocurrency thing tick: blockchain. Now, before you click away, thinking this is where things get too technical, I promise to keep it simple. Blockchain is essentially a form of digital ledger technology. Think of it as a record-keeping system. But instead of your nosy neighbor keeping track of your every move, It's a massive, decentralized network of computers. In traditional banking, the bank keeps track of all your transactions. They're like the keeper of the financial diary, except you never get to see what they write about you. But in a blockchain, the records are maintained by a decentralized network of computers, or miners. Every time a transaction occurs, it's verified by multiple computers, making it nearly impossible to alter or tamper with the data. This makes blockchain technology incredibly secure, which is why it's the backbone of cryptocurrencies. In fact, even the Reserve Bank of India has acknowledged that blockchain technology is something to be adopted, even if cryptocurrencies themselves are still controversial. Blockchain ensures transparency and prevents fraud. It's like having a financial watchdog that never sleeps, never takes a bribe, and can't be swayed by a sob story. So there you have it, the 5 key concepts to understanding cryptocurrency. If you grasp these ideas, you'll have a much clearer picture of how cryptocurrencies work, their benefits, and their potential risks. You'll be able to hold your own in a conversation about crypto, impressing your friends and baffling your family, which, let's be honest, is a win-win situation. If you're considering investing in cryptocurrencies, a great platform to start with is CoinDCX Go. They offer a secure way to buy and trade Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But remember, just like that tempting plate of cookies your grandma makes, invest responsibly. What do you think the future holds for cryptocurrencies? Do you think they'll take over traditional currency, or will they face challenges? Will governments try to shut them down, or will they embrace the future? Let me know in the comments below.